Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, desolates, peasants, vassals, government accountants. I am a useful idiot, and today I would like to talk about the sequester, or the sequestration. And I wanted to wait before I talked about this until I could distill it down to some basic elements. And I think I've done that. So let's go over these elements. So first of all, we have the usual manufactured crisis, the spectacle. That's generated for more political opportunism. And so there's lots of drama and lots of finger pointing and lots of predictions of catastrophe. And this heightened sense of confusion and fear will be used to continue to milk this manufactured crisis for all it's worth, including its manufactured solution. And that brings up another aspect of this. This is the fact that both the so-called Republicans and the so-called Democrats both relish a lot of these cuts. And the fact that it was baked into the cake and supposedly forced on them gives them an alibi, an out. They don't have to take any responsibility. So if it turns out well, they can take credit. If it doesn't turn out well, they can deny responsibility. And so this is a win-win situation for the politicians. And they can also use it for political opportunism, because they can point at the Democrats can report at the Republicans if things don't turn out well, and the Republicans can point at the Democrats and blame them if things don't turn out well. So that's how this game works, and we're going to see that again with the debt ceiling debacle. And another thing we see here is the fact that politicians are really squirming right now because they use government money to grease the wheels. They use it to bring home the pork to their districts and to their states, to pander to special interests, and to bring government money home to their states, and make sure the citizens continue to benefit from all this federal money come in, and then garners them votes. And they love that relationship. So this is really going to cramp their style there. And then we have the fact that we have an entire private sector that is so reliant on the government and taxpayer money. And I can hardly lose any sleep about the fact that they are going to have to share in the sacrifice now. Because for the last 5 years of this economic collapse, while the rest of the country is sacrificed and felt the pangs of economic collapse, the federal workers haven't really had to share the sacrifice too much. Sure, there's been a few layoffs, but the rehiring is more than compensated, and the fact that they make so much more than the private sector has already given them an edge anyway. And this won't affect their retirement plans, of course, since most of them get pensions and whatnot. But to have this entire private sector reliant on government work and thinking that the government gravy train was going to go on forever was perhaps a miscalculation, albeit an understandable one. Why would they ever think that the government gravy train would ever stop? And a good example of that is what's going on in Virginia right now. Virginia is loaded with government and government contractors and economies based on being around military facilities. Some of the largest U.S. military bases in the world are in Virginia. Fort Eustis, the Army Transportation School, and we have Langley Air Force Base, and we have Quantico, and we have Norfolk Naval Shipyards, and so they really depend on it. And then you have the entire metropolitan area around Washington, D.C., including Maryland, and Bethesda, Maryland, and Alexandria, Virginia, and the like, and they have not felt the pain of the recession thus far. In fact, real estate values held, and the retail sector is doing great, and in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area, where government money has been flowing endlessly, life has been good. And now they're going to have to share a little of the pain. So that's good. But that's a commentary itself, that we have so much of the private sector that is so reliant on the government as well. The fact that they can't build a clientele in the private sector and have to rely even vicariously through the taxpayer money that comes into their shops from government workers. So that's a commentary in itself. And then one of the more interesting aspects of this to me is the fact that Of course, everyone wants the other states to sacrifice, not theirs. And every state has a certain amount of federal money coming into it, and they all like to keep that money coming. And that includes the congressmen and the constituents and the special interests and the local governments and the local police and all the local businesses. They love all that federal money coming in. So they want all the other 49 states to make sacrifices, but not theirs. And that's very comparable to the fact that when it comes time to elect congressmen, everyone in the country says, throw the bums out. But what they mean is, I like my congressman. I know you don't, but I like my congressman, and he brings home the pork to my state, and he keeps the federal money flowing to my state. So it's up to you other 49 states to sacrifice. And that's the way this works as well. Everyone wants the other states to sacrifice, and that's the congressmen and the constituents. So that just creates a vicious cycle, and the government is aware of that fact. For example, the F-35 fighter jet program. They're not even sure that they want this program anymore. It's a very, very expensive jet. They're not sure if it even makes sense strategically anymore, but the program will not die because they ferreted out the work to almost all 50 states. So all 50 states want a piece of that pie of that F-35. So even if everybody in the government wanted to get rid of it, and everybody in the Pentagon wanted to get rid of it, and everybody in the military wanted to get rid of it, we would still be stuck with it because all 50 states would lobby to make sure that business continues to flow to their state. So that's just how it works, and very unfortunate commentary there too. And I find it rather interesting. I'm not sure how to do the analyzation on this, but a little confused about how we're trying to cut $85 billion a year from government spending. At the same time, the Federal Reserve is buying $85 billion a month on not only U.S. Treasuries and keeping our government afloat, but also mortgage-backed securities and toxic trash from the banks, the too big to fail banks. So the bank bailouts still continue, and the Federal Reserve can shell out $85 billion a month to save the banks and keep our government afloat on borrowed money. At the same time, we're trying to make $85 billion a year cut in our budget. And then, well, the bottom line for me, the bottom line is that what this shows is that the government has no concept of cutting spending. It has no concept of freezing spending. It has no concept of anything other than continued spending. That's all they know how to do. Everything they do, everything they plan, everything they count on has to do with spending money. And the bottom line is they don't give a shit, of course, because it's somebody else's money. By the time the shit hits the fan, they're going to be further on down the road, fat and happy on the money that they soaked from the taxpayers or got from some lobbying group. So the government has no idea how to stop spending. This proves it. They cannot cut 2.4%. Are you fucking kidding me? 2.4%. We have trillions to deal with, and they can't make 2.4% cuts happen without releasing what they refer to as Armageddon. So there's my bottom line. You know, if we have a fiscal catastrophe, the likes that we have, if our country's broke like it is, if every program we have is virtually unsustainable, then how can we ever stop the spending? If we try to cut 2.4% in this situation, we can't do it. So my bottom line is, really, with a budget deficit of trillions, a broke country, and our government can't get together and make 2.4% in cuts, we are truly royally fucked. I'm Useful Idiot. Don't you be one too.